We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with a huge bit of news following last night's special edition of Monday Night Raw that featured a WWE Championship match between then champion The Miz defending his title against the man who originally helped The Miz win the championship to begin with at Elimination Chamber 2021, that being Bobby Lashley. Heading into last night's edition of Raw, many fans were skeptical as to whether or not Bobby Lashley would end up winning the WWE Championship from The Miz, considering Miz had just won the title a week prior. And lots of fans felt that if there was going to be a title change, it would have likely occurred at the upcoming Fastlane 2021 pay-per-view event. However, when it was all said and done, WWE truly shocked and surprised the wrestling world, with Bobby Lashley winning the WWE Championship for the first time in his career last night on Raw to close out the show. And this is truly a huge moment for Bobby Lashley's career, and something that Lashley has been patiently waiting to accomplish for well over a decade. As such, most fans are now wondering exactly why WWE decided to have a shock title change on Raw last night by having Bobby Lashley put an abrupt end to The Miz's WWE title reign. Now, when it comes to answering this question, we first have to start at Elimination Chamber, when The Miz won the WWE title from Drew McIntyre, because according to one of our sources, the only reason why The Miz successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase and won the title from Drew McIntyre is because WWE had already been planning for Bobby Lashley to have a reign as the WWE Champion heading into WrestleMania 37, but did not want Lashley pinning Drew McIntyre, simply because the plan as of right now is for Bobby Lashley to defend his WWE title against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. And if Lashley had pinned Drew McIntyre to win the title in the first place, Vince McMahon does not feel the appeal would have been the same, so in all actuality, The Miz was never planned to have a significant run with the WWE Championship, and was simply a means to an end to get the WWE title on Bobby Lashley. Fans can expect for Bobby Lashley to defend his WWE title against The Miz at Fastlane 2021 in a rematch, and once Lashley destroys The Miz again, WWE will then be switching up the gears to building up the WrestleMania 37 match between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Let us know your thoughts and opinions of Bobby Lashley finally winning the WWE title from The Miz last night on Raw, and are you happy that Lashley has finally achieved his goal of becoming a WWE World Champion? Or do you feel that The Miz should have at least been given a slightly longer title reign, perhaps lasting until Fastlane 2021? The current Raw Women's Champion Asuka was missing from WWE TV this week on Monday Night Raw, and many fans are wondering why Asuka was not a part of the show last night. And according to a breaking new backstage report, Asuka is currently injured following last week's episode of Raw, which had seen Charlotte Flair and Asuka face off against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, with reports speculating that Shayna Baszler had accidentally injured Asuka after a stiff kick, and apparently Asuka is going to be out of action for at least a couple of weeks to recover from the injury. However, Asuka could appear on Raw in the coming weeks in a non-wrestling role, but nonetheless, the Empress of Tomorrow will be sidelined from competing in the ring for a while. One of our sources has mentioned that there was surprisingly quite a bit of backstage heat on Shayna Baszler after accidentally injuring Asuka, with one report revealing that Shayna got in more trouble for this fluke injury than Nia Jax has gotten for her botches and accidental superstar injuries over the past several months, which is quite interesting to hear, and this perhaps indicates that Nia Jax is on better terms with Vince McMahon than Shayna Baszler is, and considering there had been reports going around a while back that Vince was not sold on Shayna Baszler, this is not too surprising. Following Rhea Ripley's involvement in the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble match, most fans have been wondering why Rhea Ripley has not appeared in WWE ever since, but that question was answered recently when the WWE revealed last week on Monday Night Raw that the former NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley will be joining the Raw brand in the near future. However, while some fans were happy of the news that Rhea Ripley will be joining the WWE's flagship show, many fans and fellow WWE superstars were not, with most feeling like there is a very good chance that Rhea Ripley will be wasted and underutilized on Raw over the long haul, much like how most NXT call-ups are. And WWE commentator Corey Graves recently stated that he was very disappointed that Rhea Ripley is going to be joining the Raw brand, with Graves feeling like Rhea Ripley's talents would be better utilized over on the Blue brand Friday Night SmackDown. Let us know if you agree with Corey Graves and lots of others who feel that Rhea Ripley would be a better fit on SmackDown, or do you think that the WWE made a good choice of calling Rhea Ripley up to the Raw brand, and are doing a good thing by building up her eventual debut on the show gradually with promos. As most of you are likely aware by now, there was some huge news a few days ago that The Big Show, aka Paul White, has officially and shockingly signed with Vince McMahon's rival promotion, AEW All Elite Wrestling. While The Big Show has not been an active superstar in WWE recently, the news of The Big Show choosing to cut ties with WWE and sign with AEW came as a huge shock to most fans, considering The Big Show seemed like he would always remain loyal to WWE and Vince McMahon. However, it has recently been leaked that The Big Show was very unhappy with WWE towards the end of his latest contract, which reportedly expired after the Raw Legends Night show back in January of 2021, with one source mentioning that The Big Show wanted to be a bigger part of WWE despite wrestling less often, but Vince essentially told The Big Show that he's not needed anymore in WWE and should basically ride off into the sunset and retire, something that reportedly angered Big Show, and that is apparently the main reason why The Big Show ended up signing with All Elite Wrestling, as AEW promised The Big Show that his talents will be utilized much better than WWE, whether that be in-ring or outside the ring in a different role such as a commentator. Daniel Bryan set his sights on Roman Reigns and his Universal Championship for the upcoming Fastlane 2021 pay-per-view event on SmackDown last week, and while some fans are hoping that Daniel Bryan will either win the Universal title or insert himself into the title picture heading into WrestleMania 37, apparently that is not going to be the case. A new backstage rumor has indicated that the plan is in fact for Daniel Bryan to challenge for Roman Reigns' Universal title at Fastlane 2021, but the plan is for the Tribal Chief to essentially destroy Daniel Bryan and gain some big momentum for his huge WrestleMania 37 match against Edge and possibly one other superstar we will discuss next. So as of right now, there are no plans for Daniel Bryan to win the Universal Championship. We now have our main story featured in this video, and it is regarding the new shocking and breaking new rumors going around that the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar will be returning to WWE in the near future, likely at Fastlane 2021, to set his sights on Roman Reigns, Edge, and the Universal Championship over on Friday Night SmackDown. While some fans would expect for Brock Lesnar to return and challenge Bobby Lashley for the WWE title on Raw, a new backstage report has leaked that Vince feels Brock Lesnar is needed more on the blue brand for the Universal Championship picture, with Vince apparently planning a huge triple threat match for the Universal Championship between Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Edge at WrestleMania 37, with it probable that Brock Lesnar will return at Fastlane 2021 and attack both Roman Reigns and Edge, thus setting up the triple threat match, with the rumored reasoning for Brock Lesnar getting involved with Roman Reigns and Edge on SmackDown is because Vince feels having Brock Lesnar in the match will lessen the workload on Edge and allow for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar to carry most of the match, to limit the risk of injury for the rated R superstar Edge.